There we go. Hey, good morning. Just got word that the great Katz is here. And that's all I need to get started. Katz, good morning, buddy. Happy birthday to your daughter, by the way. 10's a big year, man. You get into those double digits, and I don't know, just feels like you start realizing how quick it really goes, right? Mine just turned 13. My other daughter's turning 12 in like a month. Dude, it goes so freaking quick. I don't remember how old your oldest is, too. But man, it goes so quick. God. But anyway, happy birthday to her, man. It's a big day. I know you are not going to be here long. I'm seeing if Henry's going to join. Otherwise, we're just going to shoot the shit a little bit and just show some market stuff. If you're able to chat and chat, feel free. I know you're probably pretty darn busy, though. But man, it was a week. It was definitely a week here. Okay, I sent Henry an invite. I'm going to see if Moisty's around. I'm going to drop some links in Discord, too. Anyway, cool stuff this week, just all around. I mean, market, yes. I mean, market, hell yes. Katz, I mean, if you're peeking here, I'm going to show you something that I think is wild. Like, I don't know. I didn't think we'd top last week with sales. Really didn't. And yet somehow we already have still 36 hours to go here, man. But look, I mean, we blew last week away already. Still a day to go, and still volume is like trending at somewhere around 50 mil a day. Let's say 40 mil a day, because all that craziness over on Bitcoin. Actually pretty freaking wild. And you and I, Cats, have talked about that quite a lot. Like, if those sales are legitimately NFT sales, it's become a heated topic. We're going to do a spaces about it. But yeah, look at this. Since the first week of October, where we started our Uptober, our first ever Uptober, by the way, every week NFT sales have increased. Every week. And again, this week, no exception. And maybe the better number or metric to look at this week, actually, it's really interesting, but unique sellers was up, unique buyers was up, total transactions actually not up. Average sale price yesterday got adjusted. Actually, damn it. I put out a tweet earlier today talking about yesterday's trade profits. Something changed, because earlier, like just two or 3 hours ago, it was in the positive, like over a mil. Now it's negative 5 mil, which is a huge. Oh, dude, I'm being stupid. Okay, never mind. Hang on. I tweeted out daily. I'm looking at weekly right now. Okay. Yeah, yesterday trade profits were in the positive 1.4 million. We have not seen that in we've seen that like twice this year. So a really, really good day and week and overall like month or two here for NFTs. Anyway, I'm going to do this in a little tighter format here shortly. But since you're watching, I do just want to show market stuff. The indexes, baby. Moisty is going to join. Hell yeah. I'm juggling a couple things here. But yeah, starting the day in the red. Measuring the value of the NFT market here. Down 0.33%. I want to peek over at like the individual blockchains and see if any of them are actually up in the green. And ETH is. That's an actual interesting point that I've seen all week. The index, the forecast 500, has been in the red just a couple of times, but each time it's been in the red, ETH is up still. ETH is green, even if it's not much, right? Even if it's basically flat. ETH is up, Solana's up, Polygon down. Little pro tip here. Polygon's tricky because their volume is so low lately. That number, I hate to say it, but maybe not always perfect. I don't know. I guess I could say like one sale that's like super low can really affect the price or the value of that index. Something we're going to tweak here. But yeah, it's just related to low volume here. So that may not actually be down that much if we like maybe weight it a little differently. So it's possible we're actually up because you can see all those other indexes are in the green. Key thing though, the Forecast 500 isn't just measuring ETH and Solana and Polygon and Cardano. We also got BNB, Arbitrum, Avalanche, Algorand, Phantom, Kronos, OEC. A lot of blockchains are covered in the Forecast 500. So if any of those chains are having a really, really rough stretch, it's going to impact the Forecast 500. Again, even if those other chains are looking solid. Oh, hell yeah, Henry's here. Good morning, sweet Henry. How you doing, man?
Good morning.
What's good?
Oh,
hang on. That's me. Okay, that's me. Sorry, I always forget. I gotta hit a little setting on my side.
GMs.
GMs, bro. Sly's watching. Good morning, Sly. Cats, I think, is watching, and so good morning, Cats. How you doing, man? I know we didn't talk much this week. I think you had a busy one. How are everything, sir?
How are everything are good. Yeah, no, it was a busy week. I feel a bit out of touch with just the overall market this week. I was gone from Tuesday to Thursday. So yeah, busy week, but excited to be here to get caught up on what I missed.
Cool. Well, good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to catching you up. I actually have some ideas, probably not going to do it today, but how to tighten up the format because of that other daily show I've been on with the NFT Live crew. They're good, man. They're really good. And they're just good with keeping the show pretty concise to like an hour, maybe an hour and 15, but they just keep it moving. Like they got the topics laid out ahead of time. And okay, here's how it goes. They go around the room. Everybody gives a quick intro, anything that they've been looking at, for the day or for the week. And you quickly move on through those topics and you spend a few minutes on the topics, but it just moves and it's got a nice flow, and we'll start doing that here. But yeah, I guess I'm looking forward to catching you up then, which is kind of the whole point of this show. Tell me about your week though. What's good with you and what were you into? I know a little bit about it, but I don't know if Sly and Katz and Andrew, good morning. I see you there too. What were you up to this week?
Yeah, so I went over to New York City Tuesday, had a meeting with a potential partner of Kong's that's based out of Asia. One of our consultants with that's based in New York City. So we had a meeting that had been lined up for a little bit, which went really well, kind of just part of the grind of the project itself, working on our IP and getting it into certain places, I guess is what I could say at this point. And then Wednesday was cool because I got invited out by the New York Fashion Institute of Technology to talk to their Web3 class. So it was actually awesome. I didn't know what to expect, but they had maybe 20 kids in the class. 18 of them were girls, or like ladies, and 2 of them were guys, which I was really surprised by it. But then Nikki told me, she's like, well, that school's like 85% female, so that might be why.
You know, and I'm like, oh, girls are really into tech. I didn't realize that until maybe the past couple of years, but like super techie. Like their brains work different than guys. I think we know that, both being dads of girls, but like their brains work different, and I didn't realize they were like kind of dialed into this stuff the way they are, but they are.
Well, and their teacher, her name's Renee Liebler or Leibler. She's been in blockchain since like maybe 2012, 2013. She's really like the head of their tech department came. They were just excited to host CyberCons there. And yeah, they're just really there. I mean, to see that they've got a Web3 class at a SUNY school, State University of New York, to see that they have a blockchain class there and that it's tech that they believe in, it was pretty cool. They had really good questions. We're actually going to potentially intern, give an intern opportunity for one of the students there. So
to intern with the CyberCons.
Yeah, they were really excited about that. Had a lot of it was just no idea what to expect. And they, I asked them at the beginning, like, are any of you degens? One guy raised his hand. He was an Axes, and the rest of them weren't really even familiar with the term, but they're just excited. They all have to create an NFT project as part of their part of being in the class. It's like their final project. So it was cool, man. It was just, it was a cool opportunity, and was happy to go out there and be able to talk about, like, basically what I talked about was how to navigate an NFT project, at least from our perspective, community and innovation, and how to find longevity in the space. But made it clear, like, this is from our perspective. This was what our journey was like versus, you can't just tell someone this is what you have to do. Every project's a little bit different. What are you focused on? Who's your core audience? So it was cool, man. I was proud that they asked us to come out there.
That's so cool. You've gotten a couple cool, like, invites to speak at places like that because you're good at it and you represent still one of the top NFT collections projects in the entire space for years now. What's that like? Kind of, you've referred to it as being on the circuit. What is it like being on the circuit?
Yeah, it's man, sometimes it's like it's work. Like, we love it, right? You enjoy doing what you do, obviously, and you're really good at it. But it's work, getting up in the morning and getting your reps in, and it's the same thing on this end. So, like, for instance, I got to New York City Tuesday morning, and all I did from almost Saturday through Tuesday afternoon was prepare for the meeting that we had Tuesday night, and then had to roll right into prepping for the class. So it's a lot of work, but then you realize, like, there's a lot of people that would love to do that work. There's a lot of people that want to be able to be out there talking about this stuff that we think is important. So it's work, but it's like, but yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's cool. I think it's cool, just to have the opportunities because we're early, right? So I really think that the people who are putting in time right now have the ability to help, change or guide the direction that some of this goes in. Like, you're out there talking with students. These are going to be the next group of people coming in, creating projects and maybe changing some of the landscape of Web3. Oh yeah.
Dude.
Yeah. Do you remember Tashish? Of course.
Oh yeah, dude. Probably. Yeah, dude. So he and I have been chatting recently in DMs. Such a nice dude. But yeah, I didn't realize. Okay, you probably told me he was going with you, and it just didn't settle my brain. So he told me that he was just out there with you. I'm like, no shit. And then I saw the picture. I'm like, yeah, how cool. Like, just CyberKong's out in the wild, like teaching and onboarding that next gen that's going to use all this stuff that we're like laying the foundations for. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and like, one of the things Kongs have always been about, and I'm not saying other projects aren't, but I feel like CyberKongs have always been about just like helping however we can. If you have a question, if you want to talk to us, like, we're very available. So even for those students and for their teacher to just say, like, if you guys need anything, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, let us know. Like, we're happy to help. Obviously, we've got contacts in the space we can help connect with. I had, like, ghosted that teacher for probably 3 weeks because I'd come back from Asia. It was really busy, and they were keen. So I think one of the founders of Doodles went and spoke to their class and actually met them maybe at an art gallery in New York City. And so, like, they had Doodles come out, and she just said, we're really keen to have CyberKongs come out because what we're really trying to impress on the students is that, there should be a purpose to your NFT, like what we all call utility. And so she's like, obviously CyberKongs have done a lot with that. So we really would like to get your guys' perspective on utility within an NFT project. So
what kind of advice did you give?
It's tough, man, because, like, people are like, well, people are coming up to me afterwards, and whatever idea they had, I'll give you for instance, a girl came up to me and she's like, so, you talk about, like, utility and innovation. So how could I do that with shopping? Very general, broad question, right? Yeah. And I said, you know what? I'm going to be totally honest with you. That's for you to figure out. I could give you ideas of what you could do, really basic things, token gating or using it as a, reward tool or reward protocol. But at the end of the day, I don't know. And the other thing I told them was, you don't have to be, you know me, you don't have to be an artist. You don't have to be a dev. You don't have to be a supreme gamer in order to create something really cool. And it could be really simple. Like, you don't have to overcomplicate something for it to be successful. It can be simple, and you can play a role in a project if you surround yourself with the right people. And I just used me as the example, and honestly, I talked about our journey at the very beginning. I talked about, like, you and I, and, you had been in crypto, and, how we were, getting into NFTs together. And so it just said like you don't have to be an expert at any of this to get into it. You just have to have a bit of a passion for it. But yeah, it was cool. Tashish came out because he's like great with content, and it was nice to have somebody that could take some pictures and record it. And he's a great Kong. You know, he's been there since the beginning, so it was cool that he could answer some questions for people, and just a great all around guy.
Yeah, man, super cool, super cool. You guys have always been willing to share that knowledge. But you know what's interesting there is we talked maybe last week. I don't even know if I want to get into this, but like the Bored Ape kind of, man, what do you even call it?
Get into
the lack of love, maybe.
Oh,
so okay, it's basically that I think Kongs were less willing to share that maybe very early on, and I don't think that lasted long either, right? I think that changed, but it's just something we picked up on when you know they're like, I don't think we've ever seen much love coming from their side to the Kongs. But I guess the flip side of that is he had made a tweet saying there was an early project, one that I had never heard of, but he bought one of their NFTs, talked about how early on when they were getting ready to launch, they shared like whatever they knew, and they didn't look at him like an adversary in any way, and like that's why he was buying that NFT and supporting them and always will, and called them brothers. That changed, I think, with Kongs, though. You know what I mean? I think if you could go back in time, I think there would have been a different like collaborative spirit. But I noticed that change in the Kongs personally, and it's really nice to see, to be honest.
Yeah, there was a time, I think, and what's sad is it wasn't from the team itself. I think there was just a time where, you know, when we were on a upward trajectory and they were too, there was a bit of competition of like who's got the higher floor price. And I think that, I mean, effectively it was Garga who came into our Discord and was shilling Bored Apes when they were launching, because we obviously came out first. And a lot of Kongs supported that mint. In fact, I think Coco minted 500 apes at least.
Damn.
So, you know, the reality is like, yeah, there's always been like this thing there. I've been in DMs with Gordon and Garga, never had any beef with them, but part of me is like, okay, they're really big. They get reached out to by a ton of people. And I just don't think I think there's just always this little competition amongst primates that like, you know, can't be showing love to other monkey profile pictures.
Yeah.
When in reality, like the Guardian contract could have saved every ape from ever being stolen if they would have, you know, ultimately wanted to use that tech.
That's crazy, because there's maybe no project that it could have been more useful for than them. You ever talked about that? Like just kind of tapping them into it?
You know what? No, I haven't. It's like Gordon hasn't responded to me in probably 6 to 8 months or so. But like, who knows? Maybe in the future something could happen. I mean, obviously they've just reached a level of success that I think puts them in I think they're in such a different stratosphere that they're not necessarily looking to platform other projects that maybe they look at in competition with them.
Yeah. Well, remember too that Gordon, like, he was gone. He was literally gone from the space, like disappeared for most of the year, and he's only back now. And I know he's answering DMs now, and I know he's replying to stuff on Twitter. Worth like reaching out just to like even a welcome back, and like I think man, offering up Kongbot in any way, like as an olive branch, could be super, super cool. It's just such a great tool for any.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna try that.
Yeah. I like, honestly, I was DMing him, and he's been really responsive and really, really nice. Like, he offered up an interview. Like, he's been really nice. So I think reach out, man.
Okay, I'll give it a shot.
Cool.
I will give it a shot.
That's super cool. That'd be oh man, I just.
So what did I miss this week? Like, what's the news of the week? A lot.
Dude, so much. I guess I can start at the surface level, like macro, and talk market, because it all flows from there. So let me do a quick, like, it's not gonna be a very focused market review, but a market review nonetheless. Let's just look at the past 24 hours. Value is down 0.39%. We're looking at the Forecast 500 index, which is like the S&P 500 for NFTs. So value down just a bit, But when you dial into this, like the individual blockchains that we measure, specifically Ethereum, Solana, Polygon, and Cardano, none of it is down much, right? ETH was up just a few minutes ago. It's down 0.02%. So basically, it's flat here. So I think the index in general being down is coming from other blockchains that don't have their own individual composite. So something like maybe Arbitrum, something like OEC, all these other blockchains that are rolled up into the Forecast 500. Point of that is to say the NFTs that we're all focused on, like the big boys, they're all looking really, really good still, and that's the value of them. I'm shocked about it. Now, the volume side, right, the sales side, also surprised there where we crossed 200 million in sales last week. I was not expecting us to beat that this week, but with still 38, 36, whatever hours to go in our data period, we already beat it. Check this out. And I don't know if you're looking at the screen. So this is for anybody that's actually tuning in. Last week, $214 million in NFT sales across chains. Already today, we're at 219, almost 220 mil. Again, our data period is going to end at 8 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow night. So a lot of time to go. And daily sales right now are rolling in at around 40 million a day. So volume is increasing. The value of the NFTs that are selling also continues to go up, like average sale price. And for the first time in quite a while, trade profit is actually in the positive. So sellers are actually making money on these trades. We really haven't seen that often this year at all. But like yesterday, for example, sellers on the winning end of these trades, $1.5 million. First time we've seen that since like April. So really strong market still. And a lot of like announcements, a lot of big art pieces moving, just a lot of positive stories, I guess, across the board. So strong week again for NFTs. We've talked about this, and all of our friends here, we've talked about it. A lot of this volume still coming from the Bitcoin ecosystem. A lot of that from BRC20s, super controversial. But what I learned this week, I guess, hopping in some spaces finally and talking to the Bitcoin community, they don't love seeing the BRC20s as part of this narrative of Bitcoin flipping Ethereum, but they get it. They've been really nice. I'll say this, like Udi, he's like the founder of Taproot Wizards. He's like, guys, this isn't a CryptoSlam problem. Like CryptoSlam's putting the data out there for all of us to look at and to use and to for us to tell the story with that data. People who are pushing this narrative that Bitcoin flipped Ethereum and making it seem like it's like the collectible ecosystem that flipped it. He's like, those are the guys that are the problem, right? So yeah, the blockchain has seen more NFT trades, but people really need to put that asterisk there. Asterisk. I suck saying that word. But you gotta let people know a lot of that is BRC20s, fungible assets that are backed by an NFT. So interesting topic. We're going to do a spaces for it probably the week after next. And I'm trying to get like some of the biggest names out there to co-host with us because it's kind of a big change going on in the NFT space. Again, fungible assets that are represented by NFTs. We see it on Mythos Chain. 99% of their sales are coming from Counter-Strike skins. I think those are fungible assets. Internally, we're going to have a discussion about that because one of our, I guess, co-founders, it's not Randy, but one of the technical founders, he believes the Counter-Strike skins are non-fungible. I don't know why, but I'm looking forward to that conversation. Like, there's just so much that goes into this, into like what is an NFT, what makes something fungible or non-fungible. Just okay, to sum it all up, we're getting to a point where I think we do need to define what is an NFT as a community, right? Not as CryptoSlam, we have our definition, but as a community, I think we need to start talking about what's going to be represented in NFT sales because it's really growing. It's growing. The utility is changing. And the more on message all of us are together, more unified with that message, the better that is for outsiders, right? When outsiders come in and it's nothing but chaos and confusion, man, it's so hard to get them on board. But when we're all kind of, I guess on the same beat and talking about the same thing, makes it so much easier for them to just dive right in and find the flow. So yeah, just so much going on. English is
Don't
here.
Don't you think from the outside that the idea of what is an NFT is that it's like I'm not talking technically, but just from the outsider looking in, it's a tradable or sellable digital asset that's provable on chain, and that a lot of them don't care what the tech backing it is, or yeah, are these fungible assets bundled as a non-fungible token? But to the outside, they're just like, oh, it's a digital collectible that can be
Yes.
traded, sold, and it's provable.
Yeah, I think that's it. All of that is absolutely correct. I think that's right. I just think a lot of people have lost touch of like the purity of it. Like it's a format in a way, and people are really just looking at a 10K PFP collection. Like that's still what a lot of people are. That is the argument of people who do not like the story that Bitcoin flipped Ethereum. They're like, it's not PFPs, it's not collectibles. Like it doesn't have to be, right? Again, it doesn't have to be. It's like an MP3. It's often a song, but it doesn't have to be. It can be any type of audio clip you want. So it's just yeah, it's like we're ready for a good community discussion and debate about what this is. Reading
I
through
bet
some
it,
comments here real quick.
yeah, to a certain degree, it may not even matter what the community thinks, because I think the people in it now, while we help shape what it looks like, we're such a small percentage. I was telling the students at FIT, when they're like, how do you know that we're early? Like you say we're early, but how do you know? And I said, well, going back a few weeks ago, there was about 20,000 active wallets on Ethereum mainnet trading NFTs, and there was like 270,000 on the DeFi side. So that's like under 300,000 people or 300,000 unique wallets, which probably is made up of way less than 300,000 people in
Yeah.
a world population of how many billions. So it's like it almost doesn't, like, what gets solved by how we view the data. What does it matter? Because at the end, what's going to happen is going to happen whether the maxis love it or hate it.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think it's more about
Like,
it's
to your
still
point,
kind of
arguing over BRC20s.
yeah, it's a weird degen, like super hyper, like micro conversation. But then you have, see if I can pull it up quickly enough. But like Medved tweeted something out where it's all how the mainstream picks it up, and I think we have maybe a responsibility or maybe it's an opportunity to get ahead of the messaging because the mainstream media portrays us in maybe not a good light. So like Medved put out this tweet. I don't know if it was from Forbes, somebody talking about like worthless NFTs and highlighting how Bored Apes are again worth nothing, and they're pointing out still an NFT that's worth $60,000. It's like there's just so much confusion. There's so much misinformation, and I think coming from the media that again, I just think us pushing what's really happening. It's not about what's the specific type of NFT moving. It's about what are NFTs doing? What problems are they solving? And why are people using NFTs? Like really zooming out and making that the focus of the conversation. That's what I'd love to get everybody on the same page with, right? It's tech that helps you solve solutions creatively, however you want. It's kind of that simple. It's like what you do with them. It's to your point about the utility. That's up to you. But here's some examples of what other people are doing with them right now. Some people are bundling up fungible tokens. Some people are tokenizing Pokemon cards. Some people are selling homes, right? But it's more like look at the amount of money that's being used in these markets as an indicator that something real is happening. And nothing more than that. The conversation doesn't have to get deeper, again, just when it comes to the mainstream.
You see,
So yeah,
Fiat
here's
has
Medved's
an
tweet.
NFT they're releasing.
Fiat.
Fiat,
No,
the
what do you
car
mean?
maker.
Oh, no shit.
Uh,
No, I didn't see that.
yeah, yeah. I think it's called the Fiat Pass. Um, they had
Huh.
reached out to Collins. That's the only reason I happened to catch that this week. But yeah, I mean, they're a major car manufacturer. So
Yeah, that's
yeah,
incredible.
like, yeah, people are coming in whether we like it or not, right? Or whether there's internal fighting over what the statistics are. Like they're still coming. They see the opportunity. I think they see the money.
Yeah. Hey, Andrew brought up a really good question here. So here it is. So Christmas last year, and this is perfect given the holidays are coming up here. Christmas last year, he got his family into a couple positions here. I think 3 SOL, not an NFT, right? But some actual SOL. They're all up on their investments from last year. So the question is, this year, what's an NFT collection around the $50 value for maybe these same people or other new people to get into NFTs, like test the waters and just kind of get their feet wet, right? Um, I got some thoughts about what those would be. Henry, what would you pick? What are some NFT projects that around the dinner table at Thanksgiving would like resonate with people that would be smart for them to maybe get into and easy to understand?
Yeah, I think one that is really interesting. Have you seen? Is it Captain and Company, Captain and Co. on
Captain.
Arbitrum?
Yeah,
They had a
actually,
free.
yes.
Yeah, they their mint was what 0.015. I think the floor sits at like I don't know, probably somewhere between 0.02 and 0.04.
Yeah.
And it's basically what was that game that used to be out? It was Sea of Thieves. Was that the game where you
Yes,
go
like the
around on your
pirate ship
ships?
fighting. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like that, but like a pixelated, like a Roblox looking version of that, right?
it's like a low poly version of that. And so there's these loot boxes, and these loot boxes contain um, blueprints. Some of them contain blueprints for ships. And basically, if you have a ship, you can put together a crew. So if you have a ship, I can be on your crew, and I don't have to hold an NFT. And you're basically going around trying to like raid people, take down other ships to ultimately be able to get their loot. And you get rewarded if you're a crew member. You get rewarded if you're a ship captain. It looks like a fun game loop. It was actually inverted that really like was the one who pilled me on it. And you know me, like I'm not deep into games, but I'm gonna join the Kong's crew. Like he's put one together because I'm like, oh, that actually sounds fun, and it's a really if you want it, it's a really low entry point.
Yeah, I regret not minting it. I think Gravity maybe got us some whitelists for it. I just didn't want to deal with all the bridging and stuff, which Arbitrum is pretty darn easy to bridge, but it does look fun. And that's the kind of game that like resonates with people, right? Just like a
Yeah,
fun,
it's easy.
like you said, a fun game loop and easy to look at it. Like it looks cool and you get rewards. Oh, okay, hang on. I got to get Moisty a link here. That's a good pick. Anything else? Like what other recommendations would you have for newbies and friends and fam?
$50. I'm trying to think. What is that ETH wise? We're talking like 0.025 or something like that.
I think that sounds about right. And it could be on any blockchain. It could be Solana or Polygon. Yeah, any of them.
I'm gonna do some soul searching real quick and
Okay.
think of.
So while you're doing that, I'll mention. Okay, I still think Vivi is pretty darn cool. Like easy to understand collectibles. It's like comics, like actual NFT comics from Marvel. Like statues or figures of those same characters. Also like big Disney branded stuff. Um, those work really well. They're augmented reality, so they just like seem to click for people who maybe don't understand digital ownership. That just seems to work for some reason. But I'll say my number one pick is if they're a sports fan, DraftKings or Sorare cards, right? Like you could send them to NBA Top Shot, you could send them to this new NHL Break platform, something like that. But I think fantasy sports is appealing because there's money to be made in it too, and they're just doing so. They're doing numbers, man. It's like it's a great ecosystem, I think, to dip your toes in. Here, let me just pull up CryptoSlam and we can see DraftKings numbers. But like I think DraftKings is perfect. Buy a pack of cards for $20. I don't know that they're going to make money on it, but they at least get to play with digital ownership and they get to play in something they're probably familiar with, which again, fantasy sports. Cats, thanks for that heads up. Moisty bro, welcome.
Morning, gentlemen. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yeah, loud and clear, man. How you doing?
Nice. Oh, hang on. Give me 1 second, guys. Gotta mute myself. There's a dog coming, and my dog's gonna bark.
Go get him.
I like his idea of the Christmas cards. What I'm curious about to whoever was asking that, do they already have wallets, or does he like set them up a wallet and give them the private key for it?
Oh, dude, I just realized that. So he's gonna load up a wallet for him. That's awesome. That's so smart, dude. Yeah, that's interesting if you're going to have their seed phrase and you're giving them a wallet or if you're going to walk them through it. But yeah, interesting. It's a really good idea. I think I got my wife an Avastar once. Okay, I'll throw that out there. Avastar is something to understand on chain. Like Avastar, if you want to hook them on some ideas and some concepts of NFTs, right? So being on chain versus being not on chain, the value of being early, right? Just it's significant for being early enough. Trying to think what else with Avastars. They're just one of those historically significant collections that really won't lose value. So maybe that's even a good starter NFT that if somebody maybe isn't into sports, they're interested in PFPs. Okay, the Avastar's not going to make you a millionaire, but it's a really solid first NFT. Gotcha. So you get them started with the Phantom wallet. They'll make that wallet. I got my first Solana NFT this week, guys.
Congratulations. What was it?
Thank you. A Bodago. So those have done really, really well too. Let me flip over to Solana here. Solana in general, dude, I don't know if this is a big brain call or if it was obvious, but Mad Lads, as soon as I heard that Backpack had partnered with, I don't know, someone in some, okay, they were setting up an exchange in Dubai, right? As soon as I heard that and then I saw what those NFTs look like, I'm like, oh shit, these are going to be like the Azuki of that blockchain. They're so cool looking. And without them having like that premier, like king NFT of that platform anymore, of that ecosystem. Like Mad Lads are going to be a thing. They're going to be the thing. All of a sudden, they're up to a 106 soul floor, which is, I don't know, $6,000 or so, maybe $7,000. So I'll check on that. But yeah, they flipped the D Gods floor price, which is pretty crazy.
You know what's interesting about Solana in general? It has had a hard time, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's had a hard time having like the king of the chain. It's had a hard time establishing like it was OK Bears for a little bit. I don't know what OK Bears are doing right now. They were going to be the Bored Ape of Solana there for a while.
Yep.
Then they had Utes. Utes obviously moved off. I don't know if maybe that's how that ecosystem will work, or if somebody can kind of be the king of the chain, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I think Mad Labs.
What's
I
the
really
OK
believe
Bears?
this. OK Bears right now have a 15 soul floor, right around there, 15 to 16 soul floor, which is pretty awesome. I'm suck with numbers in my head, so what does that equal? I think that's probably around $1,000, so
$900 or so.
About
Yeah,
about $1,000.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, Mad Lads though, guys, I'm telling you. And I was on Tyler's show and he was asking, what do people see as the next big thing? I'm like, guys, Mad Lads. That day, so they were sitting around like $2,000 for their floor price. That day, though, Dingaling swept them, and all of a sudden they blew up. And yeah, again, now they're like 7,000, 8,000, something like that for their floor price. Mad Lads, I think, is firmly like the PFP over on Solana now, and I think it's going to be in that conversation now with like the top PFPs. They are different. They look unique. They are doing all the right things. And look, here's those Bodagos again. I think they're something too because they got some like really great influencers that are behind them. So their brand is always out there. They're always being talked about. And you saw guys like Farouk and Deez and Zeneca all in this collection now too. So I think these are still a play, even at 4 Sol right now. It's pretty darn cheap considering how these things can run. So I got one. I'm really happy to be in a good Solana collection finally. But yeah, Bodaga's I'm going to say is probably a decent play. There's a Mad Lab. I'm trying to
I
find
don't.
here.
I unfortunately I can't give anything to this conversation. I do not own any Solana anything. I don't even have a wallet for them. So
Check this in the past week. Yeah, the Mad Lads 6.3 mil in sales volume. Like
that's really
That's
good.
impressive.
Flip was switched. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
that's
really
really
is.
Yeah.
Average sale price, yeah, about 5. So yesterday it was a little over $6,000. The day before 6,500. Right now it's 5.8K. That is going to be a very legit PFP for a very long time. Again, that connection to Dubai, I think, is it. Pretty fucking big. What else? Moisty, you got any predictions or any suggestions for like a $50 NFT? It doesn't have to be on Solana, but any ecosystem chain that would be good for the holidays.
I mean, I think we're at this point of this cycle where go buy what you personally, I hate to use the word vibe with, but whatever you connect with. Like I remember the first cool cat I bought. Like I bought strictly off of what I enjoyed. I was so new into NFTs, I didn't know anything, and I went with something I liked. So for newcomers, that would be my. I don't have a specific project that I think they should join. I think they should go on OpenSea, search projects, whatever's in their price range, and maybe get that as a representation because we're at a point where, like you said, these things are only $50. They're not 5,000 anymore. So you have a little bit more freedom.
So it's like pick an identity, pick something that you think represents you, and like kind of like dip your toes in the water for that. Because again, this is for people who aren't in NFTs yet, and they'll be gifted to them as their like starter NFT.
Yeah, so I mean, like personally for me right now, I am identityless. Um, I do not have a go-to PFP which would represent my Web3 identity. You know, I on Twitter I have my Bitcoin Bear Cub. On Discord I have my heavy metal. So I'm kind of in the same position where, you know, a lot of people have one image attached to their name, almost like a brand. Uh, Thread Guy, Beanie, um, you know, a lot of these whales, Maki, Big Brother. You know, when you think of these names, you could think of the image attached directly to this name. And believe it or not, I think that's pretty important in this space. Once that's part of creating your brand, like your name versus someone like what I'm doing, where every other month I'm changing it. I don't really, I'm kind of lost in this space right now when it comes to what I want to represent me. Um, so yeah, I kind of think I would kind of look at it more of choose what best represents you as a consumer. Um, Now that may go to zero. That has every, you know, a lot of these projects we've seen are close to zero now, but at least you're starting somewhere. And then, you know, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, when you're more well informed, when you understand what's really going on, then maybe you can take a step back and say, wow, these past 2 months, I love the CyberKongz community. I found a baby CyberKong that I love, and that's what I want to represent me. So as a starter NFT, as your first, I wouldn't be too concerned about, is this $50 going to turn into 150 so I could sell it? I would kind of pick what I thought wanted to represent me. But that's just my own personal opinion, you know?
Yep. Well, it's a good thought. It's a good suggestion. I think I'm going to throw out something else here too. Actually, wasn't considering it till just now, like thinking through more topics to get to. But Pudgy Penguins, not an NFT per se, but the physicals, like a plushie, or those little $4 blind box igloos, because those do actually get you an NFT, right? So you get those blind boxes, or you get the Pudgy plushie. It comes with a QR code you scan. You go to Pudgy World, which is a game like environment they're building out, and you unlock NFT traits. And those are going to be tradable. Maybe they already are already, right? But that's an interesting way to start to feel like where NFTs are heading, that physical and digital experience. And then you're only spending, I don't know, $5, maybe $20 for the plushie at the same time, getting an NFT, getting a little exposure to one of the biggest, best collections out there. And this is
And
the
it's
game
not
if
going
you
to
haven't
cost
seen.
you, it's not going to cost you 5 to 6 Ethereum, you know, over
Yep.
$10,000 to join the community.
Just like it's so many birds with one stone in a way, right? It's just
Yeah.
you get NFT exposure to a brand, and again, those
And all it
it's these
cost you is
traits
$20
here.
at Walmart.
Yeah, and those traits also, a lot of them are coming from other projects. There's some D gods traits that you can put on your penguin. There's I'm trying to think some of the
Well,
other Noun's
that's kind of like
glasses.
what you guys did with the breeding in crypto bets, right? In a
Yeah, dude,
sense.
very much like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Traits that come from all over. So again, it's like a learning opportunity for people. So yeah, I think that's a cool little holiday thing.
You know what? That's a great point. A crypto bat is probably a great thing in that price range to be
Oh, I
able to
like
pick up.
that. Well, I like that shill, guys. Thank
Right?
you.
I mean,
Let me see.
no. I mean, it's Aussie. It's cool.
Yeah,
I don't
it
care what
has a lot
anybody
of
says.
selling
I think
points.
what they did, I thought was always awesome, and the way they executed it, I thought was always awesome. There was, people who bought at the top were upset, but I thought the way that those guys rolled this out was clever.
Yeah, that they and I am on that team. We have to fight the same thing that CyberKong's fought, which is you get this astronomical floor price at some point, and you always have to defend that, which you had nothing to do with. We had nothing to do with these coming out and selling all of a sudden for 2 ETH and some for probably 10 and 15 ETH for some grails. Like the team does not control that in any way. And now they're not worth the same. And they've always been and always will be pure collectibles. And they're valued like a pure collectible. I love the price point. I love the collectibles. I collect action figures and whatnot. And I've really grown to love Ozzy over the year. Speaking of Ozzy, I was really bummed last night just reading, just scrolling through news. He's looking rough, man. It's a bummer, but he's in a wheelchair. Maybe he's been in it before, but yeah, just images of him being pushed around and looking not so great. It's a bummer, right?
Yeah, I've noticed his social exposure over the past couple of years has not been very often. You know, it's mostly Sharon representing the family. So it's unfortunate because it is concerning for his health.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
And you just know, he's put out messages. He is so hungry to get healthy. Like, this is killing him. Like, he's so hungry to get out there and perform. Even though he announced that he's retiring from performing, I think that's just a way to, like, kind of indefinitely delay live shows. I think he does want to perform still, and maybe he could. But at the very least, he's still trying to make albums because he said he can still sing, which is great. So at least he still has this connection to music. And I'll say this. We have a collection coming that has hand-drawn traits from Ozzy, which is really fucking cool that he very legitimately is still engaged with the project 2 years later, still engaged.
Yeah.
They're really cool looking. I've gotten to see the art. They're different. It'll take people probably just a day to wrap their heads around what they're seeing. Cause again, it is different, but it feels very personal. It very much feels like you got something. What's that?
Different. We need different.
Yeah. When you see him,
more
like, oh,
of the same is becoming just, shrug your shoulders and click next,
Yep. Totally freaking.
By the way, that was one of the greatest idiots wins. Wasn't that like just a load of fun?
That was a lot of fun
from them.
Idiots all getting whitelists, all of us getting crypto bats, everybody making some really nice gains if you sold. It was a pretty fucking cool thing.
Do you know what's crazy about it? And I know probably don't want to spend too much time on bats, but it just made me think with what we were talking about. So like if you look at like that presentation I gave in FIT and you look at like what are all the things that you need, to have a potentially successful project, bats did it. The community grew to 90,000 people. I'm sure some of them were bots, but rapidly 90,000 people in Discord. Innovation with the interoperability that they had with other projects. A great name with Ozzy, like somebody that most people wouldn't view as like a cash grabby guy. On Cyber Caves, mutant bats with the whatever you want to call it. I don't want to say treasure hunt, but I'm like,
the ancient bats.
Ancient bats, sorry. But the mutant bats were like a form of breeding. Ancient bats, they checked literally all of the boxes, and yet the minute the price went down, people just all of a sudden didn't care. And it's bizarre because Kongs went through something similar, but were able to maintain. And now it gets me thinking, like, why? Like, literally, why? And maybe the only argument is time. Like, when the people entered.
It's that. It's like you can't admit you made a bad trade. It has to be someone's fault. So it's the team's fault for not building something for not building the next Yuga Labs, which is insane. It's just an insane argument. I honestly, I came onto the team right before we did Ozfest in Decentraland, which was a magical, right? For as early as that tech is, it is legitimately a sign of where music is going. Never going to replace a live show, but also you can do things in those environments that you can't do in a live show. So that was really incredible. Henry, like I've been a music guy my entire life. Went to school for it, played music. That was so special to be a part of. But maybe as awesome as that was, I think my favorite phase of the Crypto Bats story is Ancient Bats because we collaborated with NFT artists like from all over the world. You don't see that often too, right? That collaborative spirit, giving the community a free experience. These NFTs were free. You just had to go and find them. It was like a scavenger hunt. And some of these artists are incredible. Like this one right here is from Empress Trash. Empress Trash is sold at Sotheby's now, right? She's a really, really big artist. You can find, I think she has 3 NFTs in our collection. Those NFTs are the only way you can get this new one I'm talking about, the one where it has hand-drawn traits from Ozzy. So, Henry, I don't know why it bumped you off stage here. Got you back. Okay. Yeah, the only way you could even get these, again, playing the game, they're free to find and collect. Once it's found and collected, it's gone. And so you have a 1/1 NFT, again, from really, really incredible artists. We even have like 2 NFTs in the collection that come from the original animator of The Simpsons. So it's just a cool cast of artists in this collection. The art's great. Yeah, what else can you say? This collection was a ton of fun, and in a way, it's just getting started. Like, we're about to breed that next collection. Here's Dead, our boy Dead from Idiots, made a couple bats for us too. Here's one of his. It's just so
Could
fun.
you make an argument that there's what is the floor on a Series 1 bat?
Like 0.035.
Could you make an argument that these have a lot of potential, like, as a I don't want to say legacy item of Ozzy's, but
Yeah.
Years down the road?
Ozzy has you guys know, there's like, I mean, one of the biggest celebrities in the world. Like, I tell my girls, Ozzy Osbourne is like what Taylor Swift is today, right? Like, as big as you can get when it comes to like pop culture and music, and just like, and like that kind of, that the highest tier of celebrity you can reach. That's him. It's what he was, and it's what he still is. So yes, I think these will always have that special connection to him because they are his. He designed them, and I think they're a great collectible. I'll never get into the like price discussion, but as far as a collectible, man, he has collectors. He's got collectors.
I've still got
people who are into his
my
his
bats.
work. Is that Sly, dude?
It's
so good to hear your voice, man.
Hey, how you doing?
Dude, so great. Better now, even. How are you, man?
I'm all right. Hey, Henry.
What up, Sly? How's it going, bro?
It's good. Long time actually speaking to you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a minute.
The coolest thing, okay, so Sly has always still been a regular. Like, you've always come around and said GMs, and like we still shoot the shit. But how cool is it that the past, like, I'll say just even the past week, we're seeing faces back in our little gang that have maybe been gone for months. We got to get Mikey back. We got to reach out to him.
Yeah, Mikey's got to come back.
Just send that guy a DM. But it's just been great to see people, like, I guess, re-energized, like seeing the action that's out there. Maybe people are making some profits too, and that's what gets them back. Because ultimately, we even us, it does matter. But something changed, and friends are coming back.
Crypto Madman came back. Like,
yeah,
it was cool to see him.
There was somebody else too. Okay, Measley popped in and said a GM, which Measley's never not active, but he doesn't always come in idiots to say hi. But seeing him come in was awesome. Heard a little more from Walshy. Yeah, dude, Nam's been back the past month. You're right. It's just a lot of the OGs are back and just here to chat. Like, the energy is back in a way. It's not all the way back. Nowhere close to what it was, but we're back in a way for sure.
I think, that happens in a bear. People disappear, there's no action, no energy. And then when things start to turn and look up again, then, they come back.
Yeah, and I think they see that there's like Crypto Madman. He sees a post on Twitter, and then he's like, "Oh, these people are." I bet he's thinking like, "Oh, these guys are still around. Like, they're still doing something." But meaning like the idiots. And I bet there's probably a little bit of FOMO that goes on. Like, you've been out of it, and you see that some people have still been in it regularly, and there's probably some FOMO that gets induced.
It's the beautiful thing is our gang is never going anywhere. It's like, as long as NFTs exist, which is forever, like, we're always going to be here. We're always going to be hanging. This is the crew.
By the way, I was going to tell you that in the meeting that I had on Tuesday evening with some consultants that we had in the city, I brought up Crypto Slam, and that you worked at Crypto Slam. They were just asking like my background, and you came into it, and the guy's like, "You works at Crypto Slam?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh man," he's like, "That's the site that I use when I'm trying to pull data." And I just thought that was, he's not a degen by any means. In fact, far more like corporate, if you will. And he was very familiar with Crypto Slam.
Oh, that's incredible. That's so cool to hear. And that is a big part of our audience, is people who are just into like the macro and the numbers and are not degens at all, but they're studying NFTs and they are very, very interested and aware of what's happening. There's nowhere better to get a feel for what's happening and what's moving and why and where. It is that. I really believe our bot's going to blow people the fuck away. Like, really, I can't stress it enough. It changes everything. And the BRC20 discussion is like, that couldn't have happened at a better time for us to show the use case. Again, you don't want to see BRC20s because you think they're muddying up the conversation. Just ask for the numbers without BRC20s. That simple. Like, right, show me 24-hour sales volume. Do not include BRC20s. The end. You instantly have the data you were looking for, and that's what we're trying to power. Anybody to create content, however you want. It's that simple. So that thing is going to do, I don't know, what am I trying to say about what it's going to do? It's going to do well because it works and because it's needed. Like, it's that simple. You know what I mean?
Is it going to give you that info? So, like, let's say that query that you just asked for, is it going to give it to you just in font, or are you going to get it, like, can you get it in charts? Like, could you say, give me that in a pie chart?
I can't tell you the answer for sure right now. I can just tell you that we are definitely chatting about charts, because I bring everything, like the questions I come with to the team are they're framed like I'm a content creator, because I do that a little, or I'm trying to learn at least. So I've told the team, and this is on like a lot of documentation internally, is custom charts. There's a huge need for it because something like Dune is really not easy for people to use. Like, some people out there who are into NFTs are not that technical, and that's me. I'm not that technical. Like, I know techie stuff, but I'm not technical enough to use Dune to put my own charts together. If I can punch in, build me a graph showing the top 10 collections and their floor price, or their average sale price and the change in it over the past few days, but also in that same chart, show me the wash trades in those collections. If I can hit that query or that question and send it, and it spits me out a chart, dude, game over for everyone else, or I should just say game changer for the world of data, and specifically blockchain data. That would be absolutely killer. So I know for sure that those questions have been put to the team. That might be being built. I don't know, because I don't know that I've gotten a direct answer, because maybe it's one of those things that, like, we want to build that. It could be that simple. We want to build it. It's going to take some time to build it, but that's like maybe on our roadmap. I hope it is.
Yeah, that'd be
Huda,
really useful.
Huda, could you explain to me? I don't really get the BRC20 thing. So could you kind of explain what that is to me, and what the controversy is?
Yeah. So we'll start like very like at the
Just
floor
the
level.
layman's version. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are BRC20s? That's where we start. BRC20s are like meme coins. They're like a crypto. Picture on Ethereum, we have ERC20s. Those are tokens like meme or Pepe, or, you know, any token out there that people are trading on central exchanges, or on DEXs. It is Bitcoin's version of DeFi, finally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what it is, right? So they're fungible tokens. The thing is, on Bitcoin, there's no platforms, there's no actual DEXs where you can actually swap them, right? So you can buy 500 or whatever number, you plug in a number and you just buy them. That doesn't exist. The workaround for it is these guys put together a bundle of them, they back it by an NFT, and then the NFT is traded. So the NFT represents a bundle. You buy the NFT, well, you get that bundle of BRC20s with it. Now you can break that bundle apart, and you can send some BRC20 to this wallet, and you can send some other BRC20 to another wallet. Some platforms you can buy stuff with BRC20, so maybe you spend some on this, you know, this other platform. But yeah, the controversy is people are like, well, those NFTs, they're representing fungible assets. That's not fair to compare them to what's going on Ethereum. And I say it is fair, because it doesn't matter what's behind the NFT, what asset is being represented. We want to see what money is being traded through NFTs. And that's our position. And
it's the tech. It's the smart contract. That's the thing, right?
It's that. It's just, if you got a non-fungible asset like an NFT, like, again, what is an NFT? On Bitcoin, they don't even call them non-fungible tokens. They're inscriptions, right? They're unique inscriptions on sats. It's such a great conversation, but like, there are fungible assets all over Ethereum. And by the way, there are bundles of ERC20s on Ethereum, backed by an NFT. Nobody trades them because you don't need to. Again, because we got DEXs and centralized exchanges to trade them on. So nobody needs to do the type of trading that they're doing over on Bitcoin. Bitcoin, they're doing it at a necessity. It's just something shoehorned into like kind of NFT tech. But like Mythos Chain, again, it's those, I think, are fungible assets. Those are Counter-Strike skins. They are backed by an NFT and they're sold. To me, that's the same thing as a bundle of BRC20s, the NFT backing a fungible asset. If it's traded, it legitimately is an NFT sale. We have physical Pokemon cards, which are fungible assets. Those are tokenized as an NFT, the NFT traded. To me, that's an NFT sale too, and we do count those.
It's mentioning the Counter-Strike. I saw on one of your videos how the use case for skins in games when Warzone basically just rug pulled, and all the people who had bought all those skins just suddenly couldn't use those skins anymore.
Oof. Yeah, I mean that's how the old gaming world works, right? Your
I mean,
assets
that's
that you earn in game, they're
crazy.
it sucks. I mean, it is what it is. It is crazy, and that's what's going to change. And that's what was exciting about hearing the CEO of Roblox last week say that they do see NFTs in their future. So that's an exciting prospect here.
Yeah, I've always found it a bit strange being a kind of gamer myself, even though I don't game anywhere near like as much as I used to. Um, how the gaming community or gamers didn't seem to get NFTs, whereas it just seems so obvious to me that in Fortnite or whatever Call of Duty Warzone, where you grind so hard or just pay money to buy these skins, but you don't own them. You don't own them. That always, and I just thought as a gamer, I was like, yeah, I'd love to own that.
Why would you not? Right? Absolutely. It's like this is why, to your point, it's so confusing why gamers don't get this because they've lived it probably their whole life, and still they're just being blinded by the fact that there happens to be money attached to this stuff, and they think that feels dirty, and sometimes it is dirty. The scammy side of NFTs does make it all feel a little icky, a lot icky, really. But like for people who are experts on this subject matter to say we don't want it when they've already been doing it for decades, it's one of the most baffling things I can think of here. The thing is, here's the thing. I know they're going to get it. They're just going to get it late, and they're going to miss out on some opportunities. And yes, those are probably financial opportunities, but it's just a matter of time because again, they're already doing it. So just one of those really obvious things that's definitely coming.
Is that the argument? Is that because there's money involved in it, and there's scams involved in crypto that it's icky?
It's basically that, right? It all boils down to like they say, we don't want microtransactions in games. Well, it turns out you do because everybody's saying that is buying skins. Everyone's saying that is playing the microtransaction game, right? Like that's been that's been this thing they've been salty about for probably since microtransactions became a really big thing, like for probably 10 years now. Well, it's
and they're not going away.
Grown. They're not going away, and it's only growing, and it's those same people that are really actually participating it for the most part. So giving them a little more power, and what they don't realize is, guys, it doesn't mean that this is now game companies selling you NFTs. It means you earn them in the game like you already were doing. Now, maybe you get a little value back finally. Now, the thing that you didn't have to even pay for, you can go make a little something, or you go trade it for another item in the game that you really wanted and maybe you knew you'd never get. Well, you've collected 15 other of these other assets, and somebody's going to trade you this one prize thing for your 15 whatevers. Like, it's just, again, such an obvious thing. They're, let's just say they're not being very reasonable, and it is just a matter of time till they come around and they see it.
I mean, it's been going on for years, whether it was in World of Warcraft, there were professional, full-time people grinding, supposedly in Asia or wherever, and then, selling stuff on the internet, items. I mean, what was funny recently, I was visiting with my nephews and I let them use my Fortnite account. And obviously, I've had Fortnite since it began, and they couldn't believe some of the skins that I had. Man. They were like, "Oh my god,
skin in the game, the season one, whatever." Yeah,
exactly. And and they were saying, oh, well, people buy that, but people have to sell their whole account.
Yes,
and they do that. They'll just sell an account. So this is not, it's not new, and it's stuff that's going on anyway. But it could actually just be so much easier as well. You don't have to sell your whole account just because you've got this one incredibly rare skin that's somebody wants to pay an awful lot of money for. So it's like you say, they're going to get it because it's inevitable, but they're going to get it late.
And there are already parts of like in the traditional gaming world that are they're heavily focused on owning assets too. They're just not decentralized. But like EVE Online is just like the perfect example to show that there is a market for it. And a lot of people do love this. But like EVE Online, this giant space game with economies and resources and kind of, it's almost like it's not choose your own adventure, but you do whatever you want in it. It's very much an open world kind of thing. But the point here is you own your ships, you own your assets. When you lose them in the game, you really, really lose them. Yeah. So there's been wars in this game where people have lost this article is saying it was a war that people lost like 300,000 in total assets destroyed, but I swear in the past year there was one where people lost like $1 million worth of assets, and
Wow.
it's so exciting, man. There's something about that
Yeah.
is actually appealing, especially for like a whale or something like that. Like that's fun. But as a smaller player, if I can like get in on this big, space battle and I can go raid somebody's ship and take some of their stuff or steal their ship and it's actually worth like $500, that's so damn cool.
Did you ever hear about that guy in EVE Online who he like infiltrated one of like the biggest groups in there, and he spent like a year and a half, maybe 2 years, slow playing them to ultimately get the guy who owned like maybe one of the rarest ships in the game to let him use it, because they became friends, and that was the grift. He ultimately stole it.
He stole it.
And yeah, he stole
I
it.
think it was like a space station too, or something.
It was something, whatever it was worth like a lot of money, like 6 figures plus. And it was just, interesting to see that. Obviously, that's something blockchain could obviously solve if you had the ability to have like, non-custodial staking where you could let somebody use it. Yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly.
Like you rent out your Avogotchis, and you do that.
Yep, exactly. Put it in a smart contract.
This was like 5 or 6 years ago, but this is the story. And yeah, he did, like you said, he tricked the guy and he stole his space station. Like absolutely hilarious. Like, I mean, okay, maybe it's not even funny. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
No, it is, because you're picturing like this dude took like, it was 1 to 2 years, I think, to earn the trust and like just
social engineering.
And you know what? I think that is what spawned one of the wars. I think there was like this retaliation where they like a whole freaking armada and like all these like and all that guy's allies, right? I think they all tried attacking it to get it back or something, or at least destroy it. There was something like that happened, which is just awesome.
That rings a bell.
It's so cool. Like I cannot wait for an NFT game to do that. Maybe it's Star Citizen or something, but that'll happen. We'll have a story like that in an NFT game at some point.
Yeah, it's coming.
It really is. Man, there's so much I still want to talk about. There's something with Pudgy Penguins I thought was really cool this week. But there's also like let me drag over a tab here. What I think was probably the biggest story of the week outside of Bitcoin, huge art sales. Henry, if you weren't plugged in this week, you probably didn't see these. I'm just gonna guess.
No, I did not.
All right, so let's check this out. This is just like 2 days ago. This was not the biggest art sale, but there was a lot of money in Trevor Jones' collaborative piece. This is a like 3-year-old NFT. It's called ETH Boy. Sold for 200 ETH. Legit sale too, right? It is considered one of those kind of iconic or historic NFTs. A 200 ETH sale of that, and just kind of whipping people into a frenzy in the best way, right? Just seeing Grail sell. But again, that was not the biggest sale. The biggest sale was a private sale of a bundle of NFTs that was from the Sotheby's Starry Night collection. I think those were like former 3AC NFTs. But yeah, check these out. Okay, that's not even the full set. There were 3 X copies in that sale. Each of those X copies, by the way, previously sold for like 500,000, 600,000. One of them for almost $1 million. There were 2 ringers in that sale as well, and 2 Fidenzas. And I think the Fidenza was like, well, I'll just say this. I think each of the NFTs were valued at a couple years ago, at least, at $500,000 a piece. So this was probably a multi-million-dollar sale. Again, private. We don't know what it went for, but big art grails sold this week. And so like I made a comment on maybe my last video or the one before where like just talking about art and why art is so valuable, and it's because it's part of the culture. And there's just this like cyclical thing happening where there's this culture that values art, but you have that culture and it attracts money. That's just what culture does. So culture attracts money, money attracts more people means the culture grows. And that's the cycle that just is going to keep continuing. It's what gives me so much confidence that what's happening here in NFTs is so real and is just going to keep growing.
Did a lot of money get a bump on any of his other collections?
Because we hold some, I'm always watching. I didn't see that yet, but I am trying to tell people, like, guys, there's probably going to be a nice opportunity in a lot of money pieces. Like, check this out. This is legit alpha. Like, it just really is. He has an async art collection, and I want to say it's a 1000 edition collection in here. Each NFT is a 1/1. And just because so many people came in late after a lot of money had already passed, They kind of missed his time here. People don't really understand how significant he is and how highly regarded he is amongst the art community. Man, this is loading so slow, but I'll get to it. But I'm going to show you, like, the floor price on his collection was like 0.19, which is crazy for an a lot of money 1-1. Like, it just feels so weird talking about it, but for a guy who's no longer here making art, to me, the price of the art only has one direction to go because of how significant he is, right? Like, when that gets in the hand of collectors who really understand him, the supply available just no longer, it's impossible to grow. So if you're an art collector and if you're into the speculative side of it, I see such an obvious play there. Why can't I find this? I can search.
So do you know this guy's history? What's his history?
Just an OG crypto artist, and kind of ran in the circles with Xcopy and again Trevor Jones. Like, he was there before this stuff really boomed. Like, he came into NFTs in I think 2018. Even if it was a little further, like 2020, which I think it was 2018. He was there basically when crypto art was starting to become a cultural thing. When that culture was starting to be born, he was a part of that. His art's unique, right? Like, he's just got such a very unique look and feel, and his style is copied, and that's the sign of somebody who's influential and important to the scene. And he's just a special dude. When I pull up his stuff, you'll see it's just different. Okay, I'm being dumb with my search here. Async. Oh, it's Blueprints. That's why. Wrong collection. Okay. Artist. So I think I've got two of these. But yeah, okay, I mean, the floor price, again, 0.19. Again, each is unique. These are 1-1s. Kind of like Xcopy's Grifters. In fact, from the same platform. Those were both launched on Async Art. And they quickly jump, right? I mean, it's only it's at least one sale away from being a 2x floor on that guy. But this is a collection where I just see guys who keep hearing the a lot of money name and seeing the people he's attached to. They scoop these up and they'll never hit the market again. Like, I'd be so damn tempted to grab this thing right here. They're so fucking great. Like, he's just awesome.
Nice stuff.
It's so cool. It's so different. He's a twisted dude and just a sweet guy. And it was fun. It was fun to get to chat with him a bit in NFT boxes when he did a piece there. But a lot of money's a dude. And those NFTs, I feel as strongly as ever that they have a special future ahead of them. So yeah, art sales this week, a lot of grails. Again, I think that was one of the biggest stories of the week. What else have you guys seen that was kind of newsworthy?
What about Disney?
Disney Pinnacle stuff,
and Flow.
of course.
Yeah.
Oh, so that was interesting. We got into a chat about that in Idiots in the past couple days. Okay, so let me pull it up first. Okay, so anyone who doesn't know, I'm sure everyone does know, but Disney is releasing these pins over on the Flow blockchain. Pins, I've learned about them. I didn't really realize this before, but at their theme parks, people go and collect these physical pins. They don't sell them, right? You just trade them. So workers at Disney World and maybe Disneyland, they wear the pins and you just walk up to them and you can take whatever pins they have, like one, right? There's also boards where you can swap pins. So you can take a pin off the board, but you got to put one there. And then outside of that, there's a whole community of collectors who trade these things, and they trade them for money. And some of these are incredibly valuable. So now we've got Disney pins coming to the blockchain, again, over on Flow. That could get really, really interesting, especially because they made it sound like there's like an IRL component to this. Maybe you're going to find these at the theme parks and you're going to scan a QR code to get that pin. And if so, that's a little different compared to what Disney's done in the space before. Like before, just like action figures and, again, the comic books that are maybe under their umbrella. This is them engaging it maybe in a different way. So what are your guys' thoughts on Disney coming in now with their own Actually, okay, I want to get your guys' comments. I was about to say with their own platform. They clarified like yesterday, it's not their platform. CoinDesk, I think, ran an article calling it a partnership with Flow. and talking about it as a Disney platform. Flow reached out and said, you guys got to change this. It is not a Disney platform. It is a Dapper Labs product. We are licensing it from Disney. Disney doesn't let anyone use the word partner. So it's all about optics and branding and whatnot. But where I was saying before, this is Disney's first time releasing their own platform. It is definitely not that. It is completely 1000% a Dapper Labs product. They probably even paid for the IP. So with that context, what do you guys think of this?
Yeah, it changes a lot for me. Because yeah, actually, I'm
lot.
happy you said that. Yeah, it's Vivi. It's Vivi now. It's just officially licensed stuff, and it doesn't mean it's not cool, but it's not novel at that point. Okay, well, I'm glad you said that because
Yep.
you know I was really excited. Not that I wouldn't maybe participate, but yeah, not the same
But
as
yeah,
what I thought it was.
Nobody knows that yet. Like that article had not gained traction, and everybody, like we were, was looking at this as, oh my God, this is Disney finally saying we're in, and
Yep.
it is definitely not.
Yep. Disney finally said, yeah, if you want to license our IP, it costs you X amount, and Dapper has the kind of money to spend on that.
Now, does that change if you still have integration at the theme parks, right? So at the theme parks, you scan it. I don't think that'll be the case because of the way they changed this, but if you can collect these at the theme parks, does that change stuff?
I mean, what if you can collect it at the theme park versus if you can use it for something at the theme park? I guess that would change it, and I doubt it's the latter, but the former wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me, but like, okay, if you can collect it there, I don't know how many 35, 40-year-old people are going to go to Disney or Disneyland just to hope they get a QR code to get a
Right.
digital pin. I don't know, maybe, but if you could use it, like, hey, this pin gets you 10% off entry, or it gets you whatever utility they want to give. But I doubt it, right? Because they didn't do anything like that with Vivi.
Yep. Yeah, Sly and Moist, you guys got any thoughts on it?
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, got you now.
Okay. So I've actually been wanting to talk about this all morning. I first of all, as far as the whole like their own blockchain, as Henry said, we've seen them have a partnership with VV before. We saw them, make millions and millions that way. They don't need to build their own chain. They don't need to build their own anything. They're just hopping around. This will cost them less money. Like you said, it's probably just a commercial agreement between the two of them. The word partnership, I don't even want to use. It's just a contractual agreement in the fact that Dapper Labs will now be I guess, the company that Disney is working with to have these pins come out. I don't think we'll ever see our own Disney blockchain, but I actually really like the idea of these pins. Going back to what you said, Huda, if you've been to Disney at some point in your life, you have seen a cast member, people just coming to visit that have backpacks, vests covered in pins. I think I'm not saying this is like, oh my God, we're all going to become millionaires here, but I like this a lot better than Vivi's digital collection. Pins are fanatical items in the Disney world. People will do crazy things for pins, and we're now hitting this digital age where all these young kids that are going to the parks with their parents, half the time they're on their phone, they're taking pictures. So I think if the ability to collect digital pins is actually going to work, I don't know how much the pins will go for in the long run, but I like this idea a lot. This is one of the Disney products that I could actually see having staying power, I should say. I just because of the fanatical past 20 to 30 years that they've been running these in real life pins, and God forbid this turns into, hey, this digital pin you bought, you could claim it in real life, kind of like how Courtyard is doing with Pokemon cards. Hey, you have this graded card, you can pay whatever to them to ship it to you, but you own that car that's vaulted in their possession. What if Disney does the same thing with the pins? That's gonna, I don't know. It's just very interesting to me. I'm bullish on it
But
personally,
Moisty,
and
did any of your thoughts change with that clarification yesterday that it is not a partnership? Like this is purely a Dapper Labs thing. Disney or Dapper Labs, they made CoinDesk correct their article. They made them say
so
it's not a partnership. This is us licensing them, and
so
it's not a Disney
I
thing.
look at it. I look at it as the same way with as Disney with uh, Vivi. These these major brands don't want to get into long-term partnerships with something that they might not be uh, foolproof on. You know, they don't like to put all of their eggs in a basket, and then more people come after them. Versus in this situation, you know, they can stop. Hey guys, 2 years from now, you know, hey guys, the Disney pin run is over with Dapper. The contract's over. We chose not to renew. And the reason I say this is because we saw this with, correct me if I'm saying it wrong, Animoca Brands, the probably like the heaviest hitter right now in the space when it comes to gaming. Many people aren't aware of this, but Animoca had a partnership with Formula One, and the game that they came out with was a racing game where you would buy NFTs for different parts of your car, and you would buy a driver, and you could buy a legendary engine, an epic engine, a common rear wing, you know. And once you created your car and you got a driver, you could race this car online. And I don't know what the rewards were, but 2 years after it launched, the contract between Animoca and Formula One ended, and Formula One chose not to renew the contract, meaning every asset is now worthless. So there's the contract is kind of in a sense like I wonder how long Dapper's contract is with NBA Top Shot, because we're seeing So Rare go through the roof, and we're seeing Top Shot, you know, do the exact opposite, crater completely. So what I want to know is how long these contracts are for. I'm fine with not using the word partnership. That's Disney covering their ass, as Formula One didn't want to say partnership with Animoca. And now here we are 2 years after the launch, and the game's been dead for over a year now. So these big brands they're not entering an agreement without the ability to pull out after a certain amount of time.
But that's a bit normal with licensing anyway.
Yeah,
like that's a normal thing.
That's why it doesn't scare me. Yeah, that's why.
But it feels like a legitimate rug pull to be able to do that.
I mean, listen, that is 100% accurate. I'm sure if we all went to Vivi right now, Veve, I always pronounce it wrong, but I'm sure if we all opened our accounts and we went back 6 months to see what something was going for and what it's worth now, you know, these assets across the board are going to be lower, but that doesn't mean there's not an opportunity to make a bag. And that's the way I'm looking at it. You know, I'm not looking to hold these pins long term. You know, I want to get in, I want to mint a pin. If I get a good pin, I want to sell it, and then I want to move on to the next one. But there will be collectors out there that want, like the same way we were with NFTs when they first came out. You know, I want a CyberKong, I want a Bored Ape, I want a Cool Cat, I want a Zuki, I want one of each, and I'm going to hold them forever. And, you know, look at us now, you know, all these years later. That potential is definitely there with the pins, but that's not going to prevent potential, you know, money-making opportunities. And that's the way that I'm looking at it.
I think you're exactly right to look at it that way. And that's okay for us or people who are willing to do a bit of degenning. But as in terms of, I think, kind of attracting wider mainstream audience, that may be off-putting to them.
Oh, definitely, of course, 100%. But you know, I'm not.
But if they're officially licensed, right? So like maybe where I'm confused on it is on I don't want to say your point in a rude way, but If they're officially licensed, whether or not Disney renews the licensing or if they do another round of it in the future, doesn't take away from the fact that 15 years from now, they're still officially licensed Disney pins and effectively the first. No different than Vivi.
Yeah.
Right? So
I agree with that.
So I guess what I'm wondering is, why does it matter whether or not Dapper and Disney continue or extend a licensing agreement in the future?
Well, I guess the answer to that would be, if they do extend it in the future, it means it's been successful, versus if they 2 years later, the contract's up and Disney chooses not to renew. Now we're just looking at them as, you know, the first historical Disney NFT pin, versus if it is successful, that means that people are collecting these. People are doing what Huda said and scanning QR codes at the park and getting their free digital pin, and all of a sudden this is taken off, versus what I saw firsthand with Formula One, where they were like, hey, thanks Animoca, but we're not going to continue down this path. And you can still buy these assets, but you know, they're not, you can't do anything with them. It with Disney, like you just said, there's a 100% a chance that if the license isn't renewed, that down the line, you know, 10 years from now, yeah, maybe someone wants one, but compare that to it being successful and them renewing this contract with the labs, and the pins are actually taking off. And I hate to be the guy, but I could actually see this more than any other Disney NFT that's come out so far. The staying power here as a collector, I could see it actually, contract being renewed. I could see this working in the long term. You know, I don't think it's going to take off within the first 30 days, but who was it? Henry, was it you and I, or maybe it was you and I, Huda, when Bob Iger left Disney, he joined that Web3 company, and we were there every single week buying digital clothes and
what was that called? Genie.
Genie.
Genie. Yeah, you know, and we all were buying that stuff strictly, at least for me, strictly off of Bob Iger's involvement. I was like, holy shit, he left Disney for this. Like, this is gonna be the next thing to take off. And now here we are. Bob left. I don't even know if the marketplace opened on the Genies. I haven't opened it or checked it in months. So, you know, that's just another example, like F1, of things not working out and it cratering and our investment down the drain. I just see staying power with this. Fair. I guess. I just see staying power with the pins, versus, you know, I would not be surprised if Disney does not renew their contracts with Vivi or Veve, whatever it is. It would not shock me whatsoever if they pulled out of that and they do exactly what you said. Hey, these are now historical. They're vaulted. You know, once you put that vaulted word in front of everything, prices tend to go up a little bit because people want that thing that they can never touch again. But yeah, it's all dependent on the future. I hate to say it like that, but
no, that's right. It's spot on.
If people buy in, the contract will be renewed. If people don't buy in, the contract will not be renewed. And, you know, hopefully we sold the top, rather than holding on to them saying, okay, the contract's not renewed, let me hold them for another 5 to 10 years and maybe they'll have some sort of historical value. I think we put a lot of emphasis on historical value versus other people outside the space. I don't think they put as much as we do. Like
that historical value comes in a few decades, maybe, when crypto is adopted by everyone and a lot of people have made a lot of money on crypto, and like basically that the world changes, as in the way we think of money has changed, and people at that point are sitting on just bags and bags of different tokens. At some point, when people have got exposure all over the place, they may say, dude, I've been in this so long, I'd like to have something that mattered at some point, and maybe historical value comes then. But otherwise, I think, the historical thing doesn't really mean much, right?
I mean, when I think of historical NFTs, I literally think of CryptoPunks. That's the first thing I think of.
It's kind of it.
I know other people are like, well, this is the first on-chain historical NFT. This is the first off-chain historical NFT. This is the first Bitcoin historical NFT. Like in my mind, all of that is just people talking. It's us being deluded in our little bubble. Versus
Yeah.
if I turned to my friend and I was like, "Hey, man, I can get you a sub 100K Bitcoin NFT." They're gonna be like, "What the fuck, dude? Like, what the fuck are you talking about?"
Exactly. Yep. Hey, I'm going to move us from the Disney conversation to something that actually does end with a little Disney tie-in here, but something big this week, and it's a brand that we talked about just a bit earlier. But Luca Netz was showing off a new Pudgy Penguins claw machine, which I think it's just cool. Like it's just cool. Him just getting that brand, that IP, just out there in a different way. What I thought was really cool about this was, to get that claw machine, you got to go through Pudgy Penguins holders. So I don't know if we have details yet on how exactly that works. But again, he showed the claw machine. Somebody asked, can holders order them? And he said, yeah, franchises access them through NFT holders only. Again, just cool, kind of dabbling in that licensing and kind of world of utility. So I don't know if people caught that earlier in the week, but I think that's maybe not the biggest deal, but it's still a deal at least. And I love seeing stuff like that. Now, also on the Pudgy Penguins and also the Disney kind of tie-in here, this guy, Chris Heatherly, he's the VP of toys at Disney, and he's seeing Luca Netz shaking and moving and saying he's seen nothing like it before, which I think is so cool to see Disney like really noticing what's going on here. So of course they've noticed it because we've been talking about it for 20 minutes of their time here in NFTs, but man, they're really looking at NFTs, aren't they? They really are, and they're looking at the potential for what you can do with them and just getting your stuff out there. And I don't know. I mentioned this on a different stream this week. Luca's like the Luca phenomenon is interesting because it's a guy who he's just putting on a masterclass for getting your brand out there. And he's doing it at a speed. I mean, that's this guy's point. The speed at which he's pushed this stuff out there, he's never seen before. Part of that is because blockchain enables you to do that, I think, in a way, because it just cuts so much red tape. It's just such a barrier destroyer. So it's like this perfect storm of like this tech that enables you to move fast combined with this gangster Luca Netz. And man, he's just pushing this stuff in a way that guys like Chris have never seen before. So just a cool story I picked on earlier in the week. And yeah, Luca's pretty fucking cool.
I personally liked it. I thought that was very cool to see. I mean, someone of that level picking up on it, I don't think that's something we should just turn a blind eye to.
Say he's never seen somebody move like that. Like that's a statement.
But it's also, let's just hope that everything that they are doing is, all it takes is one wrong thing in Web3, and all of a sudden you're in trouble.
Yeah, that's that's pretty true as well. Okay, did you guys see the friend pet? This Coinbase friend pet?
No.
Okay. I like this because I like virtual pets. I talk to Henry about this all the time, like companions and whatnot. This is just like yesterday or the day before, but Coinbase announced friend pet in the Coinbase wallet. I don't know. You got a little virtual pet, and there's a currency that you buy to like feed them and take care of them and level them up. And apparently it's doing numbers. Like what numbers, I don't know exactly. But yeah, virtual pets on chain through Coinbase. That's something I think is going to work here. How much and to what degree, right? Like how much money, what does that really equal? I don't know. I just know people love virtual pets. They're so freaking fun. So seeing Coinbase dabble in that, something exciting about that. Do virtual pets interest you guys at all?
Well, I've still got my Aavegotchi. I'm still petting my Aavegotchi every day. I mean, it's not just a virtual pet, obviously. There's a game involved with that and all the farming of the Alchemica and all of that kind of thing. But it's on a par.
Yeah, there's something similar with that. Yeah. I'm just curious what kind of rewards does this lead to? Like, can it be a forever pet? Will it have utility outside too? Like I've always wanted a companion little pet thing that I can use in games, very much like Yogami that I did want to hit on too if we have time. But like, I like that world of toy or whatever they are, Like I love virtual pets. Moist, are you a virtual pet guy in any way?
I'm not. I'm not. I don't. I'll be honest with you. I don't even know what they are, buddy.
You don't know what virtual pets are?
I don't.
Oh, dude. I mean, it's just the way it sounds. It's literally a pet that's purely online, but there's currency and resources involved because you feed them, and as you feed them, they level up and grow. So maybe in the world of, let's say, PetFi, as you feed it and level up, maybe it's like it's output, its rewards or whatever. It grows as the pet gets stronger. It's kind of that simple. But you just kind of grow this little attachment or bond because this little guy, they feel alive. Like they do feel like a pet. They just happen to live, in the virtual space. It's like a Tamagotchi or whatever. But
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. A Tamagotchi. They were the originals, weren't they? And that's kind of how are they attached to the other gotcha thing for their brand.
Yeah. Okay. So I like that news again, just because it's fun. But then I guess that could lead me into the Dogami conversation, which I don't have a lot of deep thoughts or bigger points here. But let me find this here. Dogami. You guys remember Dogami from Tezos?
No.
Like really,
I remember it, but I was not involved in it.
yeah.
But I do remember.
Well, like they're super cute virtual pets with a game that's coming out or maybe already is out surrounding it. Ubisoft is involved though. Like this is, I don't know if we can call it an Ubisoft game, but Ubisoft's name is in this. They're involved. I don't know to what degree. Their name is all over it though. So they announced just a couple days ago that they are also not moving, but branching out to Polygon. I guess they've not been getting a ton of support from Tezos. And the controversy here was that some of the early investors in Dogami, they were not told of that move, right? So you can imagine there's probably some early investors who then also invested heavily in Tezos's, their token, Tez. Now they move over to Polygon too, and you can imagine most of that action will probably go to Polygon. This hurts their investment. So they've asked the executive team of the Tezos Foundation to step in or at least weigh in or make some comments because, man, these guys are they're heated. They're heated that they weren't told about this ahead of time. They weren't consulted. They had no say in this move at all. So just just controversial.
To be fair, should they be allowed a say in this move at all? It's not really their choice. Just to be the siding with the suits on this one. Yeah. I feel like at the end of the day, man, you're an investor. Look at Utes. Hasn't Utes been to 3 different chains over the past year?
But who's the investor there? I wouldn't call holders investors, but
sorry, the whole, it's not really up to the holders what the project decides to do. You're as a holder, you're choosing to be along for the ride. So I understand their anger, but I don't think that they should have had a say in the final decision of what direction that they were going to take the project.
Yeah, I guess you could say investors are investing in a team ultimately, and should be trusting the team to make wise decisions, unless it's agreed, unless it's something that I'm so not a business guy. Maybe ahead of time there's an understanding that we're investors, but we're advisors, right? We're here as in a way as part of the team, to help steer this. So mistake. Here's a good point. Here's somebody saying like mistaking investors with board members. There's a difference. So yes, to your point, as an investor, you don't get a say in this.
Yeah, and if it's not a DAO, then it's not something you're voting on.
Yeah,
exactly. And even if it was a DAO and the DAO vote lost, it sounds more like cope to me than anything. And I understand because I think we've all been in a position where something that we owned did not go in a direction that we agreed with, and that caused mayhem. But at the end of the day, it's not our choice. We're choosing to go along for the ride. We're hoping that the project makes the best decisions, or what you think are the best decisions versus what may actually be the best decision.
That's it.
And if you don't like it, you sell your stake in it.
Move on.
That's it.
Move on, and either that's it. If you don't like it, you can for instance, when Kongs announced they were moving to Ronin, for me, I was like, holy shit. I was like, that's fucking genius. I love that idea. I think that's extremely smart for them for the growth of CyberKongs over the next decade. I think that is where they should be. But maybe someone else didn't feel that way. Maybe someone else was angry that they were leaving. And all that is tit for tat. You know, we're holders. That's all we are, is holders, and we are entrusting the project to succeed. And you may not agree with the path that that project is choosing to go on, and you have every right to bail out, get out, or you stick it through and you see where it goes.
Yep. Because I'm gonna move this to next topic and then a final topic after that. Getting close to wrapping here, but Ubisoft again has that connection to Dogami. Actually, final thought on Dogami. It's probably a smart move to get over on Polygon and just grow your base of users. I mean, really, this probably works out better for those investors. I just think that they probably invested in that Tezos coin, right? So that's my suspicion there. But Ubisoft this week announced a free PFP that's coming. There's no date on it yet, but it is a 10K collection for a game that's called Champions Verse. This is happening on a platform called Oasis, who already has some video game IP, Virtua Fighter, and I keep forgetting the other game. It's a big name. It's a big brand. But that Oasis chain or platform is really interesting because, again, they've got these big legacy Sega-like IP already over there. So interesting to watch this. Go to that Championverse Twitter or website and sign up. You can get signed up at least for like to be notified for when like waitlist or whitelist opens. But again, free PFP, first come first serve kind of thing. No harm in trying to get that, right? Ubisoft 10K PFP. Gonna end just on a quick. Oh, go ahead, Moisty.
Is Ubisoft also doing Biogenesis, or am I getting my companies mixed up?
Biogenesis, Symbiogenesis.
Yes, that's it. Sorry.
Symbiogenesis is Square Enix.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
not
Okay.
Ubisoft, but
But
yeah, great seeing these game devs.
Another giant, you know?
Dude, and I still,
like,
dude, deep down, my gut has always told me, and I've seen others say this too, but for years I've been saying, guys, it will not shock me if Grand Theft Auto 6 has crypto, maybe NFTs. It won't shock me at all. Like, and again, I know we've all talked about it, but like knowing that they had the stock market in the game initially with Grand Theft Auto 5 tells me that that's something that is appealing to them. They're very forward thinking. They have such a huge, like, let's face it, Grand Theft Auto Online is a metaverse. Those guys have real potential to like enter this space and dominate it in an instant. So like, I got a gut feeling that something could happen there, something very splashy. Again, a crypto, maybe NFTs, but keep your eye on Grand Theft Auto 6 because I think that could be a huge X factor.
Yeah, the rumor was that Bitcoin was going to be perhaps involved.
Oh God, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
I could personally see more of a Counter-Strike Go marketplace situation more than I could see a blockchain stock market being involved. That's just my, I'm a gamer.
That would be cool.
I could see like, hey, I got this gun as a reward and I want to sell it. And we've seen the prices for Counter-Strike Go skins. And their player count, as high as it is, I'm sure Grand Theft Auto can rival it. So for them, that's just another income stream for them to potentially have. So I would love to see crypto involved in Grand Theft Auto. I think it would be really something. But if I had to guess, I would lean more towards a Counter-Strike Go-esque marketplace where you can buy, sell, and trade your assets with others versus just buying something.
Would they be NFTs? Do you picture that as NFTs?
If we're counting Counter-Strike Go skins as NFTs, then yes. But I once again do not think it will be blockchain involved in the sense of current MetaMask, Ethereum NFTs, gas transactions. I think it would have to go the Counter-Strike route.
Yeah, I could see it. I would love it. I would love them to just touch anything in that ballpark. Anything that just like borders on what we're doing would be.
If it makes them money, then why not? And I think they're taking lessons from Counter-Strike. Hey, that knife skin just went for $120,000. Can you imagine what someone will pay for a one-of-one car in Grand Theft Auto?
Knowing the
Forget it.
lifespan of these
It's
Grand Theft
it's
Auto
gonna
games too, right? Like knowing that these are decade-long games, people will shell out money. Now, here's the biggest thing: if they become NFTs and people maybe catch wind that well, like Counter-Strike, your skins will also move on to the next game. That's what really can bring value to those items. If they do become NFTs, or whether they are or aren't, if those digital items live on beyond the first game, that's going to attract some serious dollars. Yes, one-on-one cars, rare weapons, rare clothing, even the even like the clubs and like the facilities and apartments you can buy. It'd be wild to see some like the housing markets traded, like the leases and stuff in game as some type of token. There's a lot of potential there, and again, like Spidey sense or something tells me it very well could happen. So we'll find out soon. The info on that game is starting to roll out here, actually over the next few weeks in December. So we'll get the first trailer then. Probably start trickling out some more info about pricing and maybe what secrets they got for us. So cool shit.
Just the last mention as well with Ubisoft. Apparently, IMX have got something big coming with Ubisoft as well, but they haven't announced exactly what it is yet.
Yep, they just partnered. You're right. This was like a week or two ago. Yeah. Yeah, we don't know
So
what
again,
that is
Ubisoft are all over it, so it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, they're starting to lean harder and harder, even after all that negative feedback from gamers. Right? People killed them over the Ghost Recon stuff, and they didn't deserve it. Those were free to earn in game. They weren't selling anybody NFTs. In fact, you could get the game for free, I think, and play it on a trial, get those NFTs, and then go sell those NFTs and actually just make money off the experience. So people are. Gamers are out of their damn minds sometimes. I love gamers. Yeah. I'm a gamer, but man, gamers are crazy. Yeah. Gamers are crazy. All right, we're gonna wrap on this point. Big event is coming on Monday here, and again, big, potentially very, very big. Okay, we've seen sales ramp up over the past. Well, it's been about a month now, but especially over the past couple of weeks here, coincided with the price of crypto really going up. Also with the meme token airdrop. Point of this story is liquidity. You get liquidity in traders' hands, and they're going to be spending it, and we see now they're spending it on NFTs. It's pretty great to see. Well, Monday, maybe it doesn't come on exactly on Monday, but Blur Season 2 farming ends on Monday. Maybe the airdrop or the Blur token claim comes that day as well. If not, it should be next week, okay? What are people going to do with that liquidity? Are they going to spend it in NFTs? What I'm noticing here, though, is the past few days, wash trading has really been declining, like really declining here. We were up in the, mid 10K range and up to 20,000 on certain days in wash trading, and we hadn't seen that since the summer. Well, all of a sudden, the Blur price, the token price, took a big dive, happened to match right up with the farming. The wash trading really starting to decline too. So there's some correlation there, which just kind of makes sense, right? If the token you're farming for is worth less, you're maybe a little less inclined to want to farm for it. But home stretch here. You got today, you got tomorrow, and then maybe a bit on Monday. Farming ends Monday. What do you guys think happens when the Blur token gets there?
Nothing.
People are going to buy NFTs, or are they going to take some gains and peace out for a little bit?
I think we'll see 80% gains, maybe 20% NFTs, maybe 70-30 split. But as far as floors go, I mean, maybe they go back to what they were after this initial pump these past 2 to 3 weeks. Maybe they're already there. But I think we're now going to just slightly go back down to where we were already.
That usually happens. It's a bit of a dump.
Until season 3, right? I'm sure there's going to be a season 3.
So what if they announce a season 3 same date? Personally, I think that's key. If they announce season 3, boom, like action, constant action, trading back on, wash trading right back on. I think that's actually key to it all. If there's no season 3 announcement, my gut tells me people maybe head right back over to Frentech, which the volume fell off when the season 2 end date was announced. Like right here is where that announcement happened, and Frentech volume disappears. If they don't announce season 3 of Blur farming, I wonder if people head right back to Frentech and farm those points for their airdrop that's coming. But if they announce season 3, I think things get spicy again in NFTs.
I want to agree with you. I just don't see. I mean, yeah, they'll have the liquidity. So maybe we could get some nice exit points on some projects that we're still holding. But I think we're down to, personally, we saw the pumps. We talked about this last week. We saw the pumps across certain projects and not others. We saw Pudgy stay stagnant at 5.5. We saw apes go up slightly, mutants go up slightly, but we saw cool cats and gutter cats like 4x, 3x. So I think my eye will be more towards seeing what happens with those lower projects as to dictate the market than the higher ones, because the projects that didn't get pumps, are we going to consider them dead in the water almost? If they were dead before and blur farming's gone, then what's going to keep them afloat?
Yeah, that's a great point. Right. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Great point. Sly, any final thoughts?
No, just great to be chatting with you guys again, and I look forward to doing it again.
Dude, likewise. Yeah, so we'll keep doing this as a weekly thing, but I am like imminently going to be doing a live daily show too. That might be on Twitter Spaces with the Crypto Slam account. I've just not figured out how that should look, but a much more structured show, probably 30 minutes or an hour every day, maybe a little more market focused like we did here at the tail end. Although market sometimes in numbers kind of gets boring. We'll see. I am still figuring it out, but it is happening kind of immediately. Got to keep this momentum going here.
Yeah.
Final check-in on the numbers, just because why the hell not? Up to 225 mil for the week. Again, at this point, about 20. Yeah, still about 36 hours to go. So another strong week. And let's just peek at the value right now if we've climbed back up. No, down even a little further. So value falling a little today. Very typical weekend stuff. Like people are busy with their families. They're touching grass. So trading does seem to slow down a little bit. But those Bitcoin degens, I don't know if you can slow them down. So we may end up ending up today just because of them alone. Like just look at this, blowing Ethereum out of the water here. 35 million sales on Bitcoin today, just 8.5 on Ethereum. Something's changing out there, guys. Pretty wild. Anyway, fellas, Sly, Moisty, Henry, I know you're gone. Thank you guys for coming up and chatting. Hang on, I need you guys on my screen too. Hang on, still learning all this. Thank you guys for coming to chat. And everybody who's here, it's English, it's Rebel. Who else? Andrew was here today. Gravity, Cats, of course. Loot. Thank you guys for tuning in. I love doing these. I love you guys participating. Just expect lots more, and just for this show to keep growing and truthfully getting better. So thank you all. Hope your day's fantastic. Tomorrow I'll be back with another 5-minute morning update. So look forward to that. I'll see you guys then. See ya.
See ya.